Greetings and salutations to our fine podcast audience. Welcome to Three Peas in a Pod, episode 235.
We made it.
And we're going to jump right in, if that's okay with you guys.
Let's do it. Jump.
We have a long question. And I want to give ample time to the question. Very.
Is all of that on your screen, the question?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I'm about to read it. You ready?
Wow, it's going to be...
Because we need all the context
All right.
for this person. Because this is a personal question. I want to give all the thought and all the consideration to the personal question. Here we go. Our listener asks, I think I have lost my faith. I guess the best way to describe what I'm going through is I still pray, but I don't think anyone is listening anymore. I feel like I'm just talking to myself. I'm still an active member of my congregation. I attend weekly service like clockwork. I'm part of our Bible study. I still do work for the church and follow the rules for living we are expected to follow. On the outside, nothing's changed, but on the inside, I just don't think I genuinely believe anymore. No one thing made me lose my faith. It was just a gradual erosion over the years. I don't blame the faith leaders at my church for this. They've done everything they could to answer my questions and assuage my doubts. Our pastors are people of strong faith, and I respect them greatly. I haven't shared this with anyone, and whether I regain my faith or not, I intend to keep acting like a Christian and doing what I have been doing. So my question is, would God condemn me for losing my faith if I keep acting like a Christian and stay in my community, even if I don't really believe deep down? And if so, what do I have to do to believe, quote unquote, truly once again? Thank you for your time.
That's a good question.
That might be one of the most personal, deep questions I think we've had on this podcast.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
I think I would start by just saying, how do you know what you believe? That'd be my question.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm trying to think of how would I say this if the person was sitting.
If you were sitting in front of me, what I would ask is, when you say you don't believe, what is it you don't believe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be important to know.
Well, and you say deep down, I don't believe.
Mm-hmm.
And this may be my personal problem. I've told you guys before. Deep down's tough for me.
Yeah.
It takes me time to get down to whatever deep down is for me. I'm one of those people that I think I got deep on something, and then I realize, I'm like 5% deep on what I'm actually feeling or thinking. So I'm actually being serious. Maybe that's you. What do you mean deep down I don't believe? Do you mean you believe some things, but there's something deeper that you feel like you should be believing that you're not believing?
Yeah.
That would be my question, because I don't know what fully you mean.
Mm-hmm.
You don't believe that Jesus is the Son of God, or you don't believe God exists, or those are the questions I would like. Where is it there are certain questions and struggles I have. I'm doubting certain parts of the Bible.
So I don't want to be, I really appreciate the question, the way it was written. And so I don't want to, because we can't have a conversation and I can't see your face and we can't talk back and forth, I don't want to be offensive in any way, but I personally struggle with believing anyone can consistently act in a way that is different than what they deep down believe. I think it's, if you mean feel, I think many of us can act differently than we feel. But I think what you believe inevitably in time comes out in the way that you live.
Yeah, my thought when you said, especially the part where you said in the question, I intend to continue to live this way.
Right.
That tells me that you probably believe that Jesus was right in some aspect about
how you should live
and the nature of what it means to be in this world and the best way to live as a human being. So I would just sort of commend you and also kind of push back on you a little bit to say, I think you do believe some things, because like Ed said, because I'm bouncing off of what you said, Ed, what you do does reflect what you believe. So there's something there about Jesus and his way and his church that you do believe, or else you would not say, I'm going to continue this way of living.
Right.
So I'm not saying you might have some intellectual questions like Nathan just alluded to
Mhm.
about what happened and how does it all work.
Sure.
And we deal with a lot of those questions right here on this podcast because we struggle with some of these things. And there's a lot of times we say, I don't really understand how this works.
Sure, that's
and
right.
I have doubts about it, but so I just wanted to, I don't want to say clear the deck, but get down to that to help you see you are believing something about Jesus, or else you wouldn't be, because I think in a lot of ways you are following him. And when I say follow him, you're following his way. You're listening to his voice, and you're saying, that's good. That's pleasing. That's right. That's all the good things. And so I want to go that way. So that's good. And so I want to just sort of lay that as a foundation.
Well, and that was my point in saying,
Yeah.
get down to what do you mean what you deep down believe?
Yeah.
Because what I have found most people think is, if I'm struggling with certain intellectual questions, that means I don't believe anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something that's rooting you in this.
Yes.
There is something that is rooting you in this. Your desire is not to leave the faith,
Mm-hmm.
but you're saying, I'm struggling to believe, and I don't know, this person doesn't say whether they're in our church, because you said you haven't told your faith leaders, so maybe you're in our church. Or maybe you grew up in a church tradition that really emphasized the whole faith is just believing certain facts, and I'm struggling with that, so now maybe I don't have faith at all.
Or there are whole branches of Christianity that say the way you know your faith is real is that you have a certainty of feeling
Right.
that exists in you, that you know that I know that I know. That's the way, I mean, I certainly went to churches
Yeah.
growing up where that's the way they talk about it. I just know that I know that I know. And for me, I just go back to, it's really hard for me to believe that consistently, I don't mean for a short period of time, I don't mean for Sunday only, which is not the way I took what you said.
No, because you talked about praying and
Yeah.
your Bible
Yeah.
study. And
I find it hard to understand how a person consistently can live in a way that goes against what they deeply believe, even if they don't feel certain things about what they deeply believe. And I think there's a lot of things in our world and in a whole way of thinking about Christianity that feeling reveals more than living. That if I feel a certain thing, even if my living doesn't match up with it, the feeling reveals the truth. Where I don't think Jesus would agree with that.
Yeah. I was going to say, if I can, reveal a little bit about myself. This might help you. I don't know. Maybe not. One thing that I do almost daily is I confess my beliefs, my faith in my prayers. I've been doing that recently for the past, as long as I can remember right now, several months, maybe a year or two, where I confess the Apostles' Creed every single time I pray. It's part of my prayer liturgy that I do. And I would say to you, are there days when I repeat the Apostles' Creed and I am 100% fully convinced that everything I just said is deep down, like you said, deep down in me? I don't know. I don't even know what that would be like, but I confess it nonetheless, because there's a part of me that feels a strong kinship with the man who came to Jesus and said, I believe, but help me with my unbelief. And that's I think that's one of the more honest things that is said in Scripture, because I think, to me, that's really deep in me too. That I do believe. But I know there are parts of the faith that I wonder about sometimes, and I'm not so sure about, or I don't know how it works exactly. And so, but I always root myself in the creed of these are the things that my passed down received faith has been based upon for thousands of years. And I want to just every day root myself in it and remind myself of not what I am sure of, but what I aspire to and what I want and what is the intention of my life. And so I don't know if that helps you in any way or if that would be even helpful to you to do. I'm not saying you should go do that. That's not why I said that. I'm hoping that by saying that, it might reveal or maybe open up some thoughts to you about what the nature of your faith is. Mm-hmm. Is it a certainty? Because you talked about this a few weeks ago, Nathan. Wasn't it you that mentioned?
Maybe.
I can't remember
what you're going to say.
You were talking about the nature of certainty.
Oh, sure. The mystery.
The mystery of having certainty.
Yes, and I did that.
Anytime I do root myself in some certainty, I'm always suspect of that.
Yeah.
Because there's always a mystical nature to our faith.
I think, yes. Right? I think when I root myself, let me make sure I'm saying this the proper way. If I root myself in my own certainty of something, the way that Ed said it, I know because I know because I know.
Yeah. There
is a received nature of rooting myself in the certainty that I'm a part of a line of people who believe in God the Father, the Almighty Maker. You know, there are things we can know about God, which then root me in His character in the way that any of us, you know, Jason just went through a week with his wife was out of the country. My wife right now is far away. I'm not near her, can't talk to her all the time, but I'm pretty certain of who she is as a person. Yeah. If someone came to me and said, your wife did this and it was completely out of character, I'd go, I think you missed something. Now, there's mystery. I'm not with her. So yes, maybe she totally did. But there's a level, it's a different kind of certainty than that. And like you said, it's this mystery of we're in this relationship and I will always err on, I know her in a way that's not based on certainty. I think anyone who's married can attest to it. Our souls, our hearts have really been knitted together in love in such a way that I know this person in ways I couldn't explain it to you.
Right.
If you may know more facts about her than I do, but I know her, and that's the mystery part. I couldn't write it down on a piece of paper and explain it. And this is where I kind of want to shift to, because I agree with Jason said about it's a received faith. So you can, when you can't believe, you can lean on. Yeah. This is what other people believe. I want to take it to a different part of your question that I heard originally and said, oh, I need to say something, and then I forgot it towards the end. Very beginning, you said, I feel like I'm praying and I'm not, and no one's there. And I think there's more to that experience that leads to the deep down, I don't believe. And I don't know. So this is, once again, shot in the dark because we don't know who wrote this. I don't know your level of maturity. I don't know how long you've been following Jesus. But for many believers, there comes this part of, if you've had a very intimate relationship with God, and you've really felt His presence with you, there comes occasionally for believers, I don't know all believers, but certain believers, what St. John of the Cross refers to as a dark night of the soul.
That's right.
Where the prayers that you used to pray, that, you know, Jason talked a little about the prayer liturgy that he does, that really were this kind of avenue and vehicle to enter into the presence of God. Or the service that you did, you know, every time I went and served the poor, I just felt God. You know, Mother Teresa talked about this, of there then comes a point where I used to feel God, and then all of a sudden I'm just doing it. I feel nothing. I don't have that burning in my soul. I don't have that I'm not praying and feeling God. And I want to say that's a normal thing. I don't know that it's a normative thing, as it's going to happen to everybody. Right. It's going to go, but it seems to be a thing that Christians across time have said, yeah, I resonate with that. That has happened to me. I know recently honestly, it was just before we started, and I think we've talked about it here, we started a staff prayer time on Monday mornings. It was just before that. I had changed up my prayer time. I have a similar prayer liturgy that Jason's talked about, but it's different. It's not the exact same, but it's a similar kind of thing that I've been doing I asked my wife the other day, when did we start? I think 2018 was summer of 2018 was when we started. And it was very much the way Jason, there are some days it didn't do anything, but some days my prayer life brought me into the presence of God in a powerful way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went about 6 months, maybe a year, where I wasn't feeling anything. I'm getting up and I'm speaking. Sometimes, and I think maybe you guys, I don't want to put anyone on the spot. I certainly have had moments, and I don't think I'm the only one, where even when I'm up on stage speaking, it feels like God is physically there with me. I'm not alone in this. It's not my words, it's his words. And I wasn't having that experience anymore. I was with the body, and I just kind of felt like I'm doing the right stuff. All the stuff you're kind of talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever really questioned my beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying this is what you're feeling. I don't know that I got to that point because, as Jason said, those to me they're almost a separate thing. They're a structure that help hold up this connection to God.
Yes.
But I went through it and I was just frustrated and angry. And I remember just coming home one night and I was just empty. I just didn't have anything. And my wife and I, the kids had gone to bed. I'm just laying on the floor of our house and in our living room, and I couldn't really get myself up. I thought maybe I was depressed, but I don't think that's even really what it was, because I've been there before. It wasn't the same kind of thing. And I was so angry, and my kids were asleep, so I couldn't yell, but I was yelling at the best I could. And my wife just laid there and held me, and I'm crying. And she said, well, what are you feeling? I said, I don't know. I don't really feel much of anything. And then I said, I'm mad that he doesn't want to talk to me anymore. I don't know what I did that he doesn't want to talk to me anymore, but he doesn't seem to want to talk to me anymore. And I'm just mad at him. And I can't get past, I felt like he was right there with me, and I haven't changed anything that I've been doing, but he's not talking anymore. And I can't get up and pray anymore if he ain't going to do it. And I can't get up and speak. If he ain't going to do his part, I can't do my part. And there was a little bit of a breaking in that moment, but then it was the next day we did, I think it was the very first of these prayer staff things, and being with everyone else and really being with the body and experiencing his presence somehow cracked something open that drew me back into it in a way. And I don't mean it like this, now everything's back to normal. There are some days I still go, am I where I was feeling it the other days? But it's given me the strength and the hope to keep carrying on going. Yeah. I know he's there, and it may just be different for this season. And so I would just say to you, if that's what you're experiencing, it's not this like, I don't believe the intellectual things I need to believe. It's, I'm not even sure he's there because I don't have that experience I used to have. I would encourage you just, one, to keep at it, but two, to talk to someone about that.
Yeah, definitely.
To be able to cry it out, talk to God about it, talk to other people about it, be willing to just say, and I don't mean use my words, but that essence of, I don't feel like I can keep doing this.
And I would say, if you can't do it with the people in your congregation, which I can understand why, particularly since you want to continue anyway, I would call up another church and just ask if you could talk to somebody on their staff. At least at that point, there's some emotional distance between you and them, and that it's not a risk to you, whatever they say.
Yeah.
Whatever they say. But trusting that God would lead you to the right person, that you pray and say, hey, God, I need to talk to somebody. You need to find a spiritual friend that you can say this to. You'll be shocked how, every experience they've talked about, I've had as well. And it's a little bit universal. Again, we don't know all the circumstances of where you are. Yeah. So to a degree, we're taking shots in the dark. We want to try to help.
Yeah.
We'd be willing to help as well if you want to reach out in some way.
Definitely.
Other than just asking the question.
I think I want to echo what Nathan said, because you said something I was thinking, and I've said this in the counseling settings that I am in with clients, because a lot of people get into those stuck places, or they're just not sure, is this working? Should I, and what they're really contemplating, it maybe you're not, but I wonder, are you contemplating quitting?
Right.
Because I hear that in your question. You did say I'm continuing to do the things. I'm gonna, I hear you, and that's good. But I wonder if there's that part of you that is wanting to quit or is contemplating, should I just give up?
Right.
And I've said this so many times I can't even count. The one way that I know you won't get there is if you quit.
That's right.
That's the one thing that I can say without a doubt. And I've said this to clients, I said, I know you're struggling and you're wondering if you'll ever get out of this dark hole that you're in. I can tell you for sure you will not if you quit, because quitting cuts off every chance that you have.
Right.
That's right.
To get to a place where you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and who knows where that would be. I hope and pray that it's not long, but it could be. I think Nathan alluded to the Mother Teresa. He's talking about the book that she wrote right towards the end of her life, where she chronicles a lot of what she experienced. I would recommend that book to you if that's where you are. To me, because we see her as such a saint and someone who carried the faith. But then when you read her experiences, you realize, oh, she wasn't carrying it as well as I thought, or she wasn't carrying it in a way that I thought she was. My picture of her changed, but it gave me such hope.
That's right.
Of saying, oh, okay, so I'm not odd, and the struggles and the doubts and the fears that I have doesn't mean there's something wrong with me, and I'm not in the faith. And I hear you saying that in your questions. You say, I'm not in the faith. I'm gonna do all these things, but I don't know if I'm still in the faith. You are. I think you are.
Oh, and that's what I would say about the Mother Teresa part.
Yeah.
It's not, because I know what you were trying to say, but I would even say, I think she did carry the faith stronger.
Yeah.
In the sense that it wasn't based on what I'm feeling.
That's right.
And what I'm experiencing and how this affects me. Because there is a way in which we take all of these rituals, my prayer, and it's really about me. It's really about my experience of God and my this. And that, if you took that into any other relationship, like if I sat down with my wife and said, I'm going to talk with you tonight because of what I get out of it. I think she would look and go, this isn't much of a relationship.
Right.
The reason I pray, the reason I worship, the reason that I serve is because through my beliefs, I have come to find that this God who is Father, Son, and Spirit, who became flesh, born of the Virgin. I'm thinking of all the Apostles' Creed stuff. Yeah. This God that I'm certain he is so worthy of the rest of this, regardless if I spend, and I remember Mother Teresa's, it's a large section of her life.
It's most of her life. It's most of her.
That I spend going, I'm getting nothing out of this. I don't feel your presence. This is hard for me, but I'm going. And like you said, that may open your mind to go, wow, that's different than I thought it was, but it may be helpful to you to understand a good picture of this is what it means to carry the faith.
And for her, it's been a long time since I read the book, but I remember for her, she had some initial experiences that were undeniable for her and God. And I think what she was able to do is allow those to carry her through it.
Right.
She continued to call back to that. And I would say, if you've ever had moments where you were like, undeniable, Jesus is with me and he is real, and whether you felt it, what that means to you, I don't know.
Yeah, it's different.
But yeah, whatever that is, those were a mercy that he gave you.
They are a gift of grace.
They're a gift of grace. And so however you can be called back into that, or to link yourself back into that and go, I know it's not a present reality, but it has been. And so I'm gonna continue to go back. That can be a source of strength for you. Remember his mercy to you in those moments and allow that to call it. The other thing I wanted to say is, if you choose to do what you said in your question is, I'm going to keep doing the things. I'm going to keep serving. I'm going to keep coming. I'm going to keep building into my community. Can I say that if you are real about where you are in the internal part of you, with someone in your faith community, someone who's safe, that you feel like you can do that with, I will tell you that I know people that have had crises of faith, struggles in their journey of walking with Jesus, but they did the same thing. They kept coming, they kept singing, they kept praying, they kept serving, and they are my heroes.
Yeah, that's right.
I've been in this church community for near 30 years now. And those people when they have revealed that part of their life to me, and then I come to meeting with them and I watch them serve and sing and pray, and I know what's going on the inside of them, and I know they have been a gift to me.
That's
yeah,
right.
that's right.
And so I'm saying that to say to you that you might be a gift to some people. And even if that right there motivates you and encourages you to keep going, I want to share that with you, because it might be that would be your role that you play for this time. And I continue to pray God gives you another mercy, another grace
That's right.
of His presence coming down in the future of your journey. But there's somebody in the body of Christ who needs you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you're here, and God could be using you in that way.
Mhm.
And so I hope that's an encouragement to you, because that's been an encouragement to me in my faith over the years. So just wanted to throw that out there.
I want to end by answering your last question, which is, if I don't ever get this back, will God actually condemn me? And so what I'd
Good.
like to say to you is that no one is accepted by God because of their mental assent
Yep.
to a list
Yeah,
of
that's right.
doctrines.
That's right.
And so therefore no one is condemned by God for their lack of mental assent to a list of doctrines. Trust in Jesus is more than me mentally thinking things or feeling certain things about the truth of what He has revealed. So that's what I'd say about that question. The rest of your stuff, it's not as clear to me, but if you say, I don't feel a certain thing or I don't think a certain thing, nobody's condemned for their lack of thinking about
That's right.
a certain way. That's not the way the gospel works.
Yeah, I like that. What Ed just did was I think, more accurately defined what we say when we say the word faith.
That's right.
That's right.
It's not just mental assent.
That's right.
It is an allegiance
That's right.
to
Mhm.
King Jesus.
Yep.
That you live out in the way that you
That's right.
live your life, in the way that you follow. And so keep doing it. And that's what matters.
That's
Yep.
right.
So
That's right. Thank
Yeah.
you for the question.
yes, very honored that you would reveal yourself that way, whoever you are, whether you're a part of our congregation. Again, I'm not sure by the way
Yeah.
you asked the question if you are or not. If you're not, if there's anything we can do, whoever you are, wherever you are, and you want more clarification, certainly reach out to us. You can do that in lots of different ways. You can email us. You can reach out again on the form that you filled out and give us a way to contact you. We would love to do that. And I understand you wanting to remain anonymous. We respect that. But anything we can do to help further this conversation and help give you more encouragement, we would love to do that if you'd allow us to. So again, thanks for the question. Keep sending them in. If you've got more, link is in the description. We would love to help guide you in whatever way that we can. So, all right, that's all we got for today. Thanks for joining us. Hope it was helpful to you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.